Hey, Darren, what's some of the things that you wish somebody had told you before you ever got started?
In the business world, you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Flipping houses, starting businesses, whatever.
I think, God, I'm 3 decades in the game almost. And so, man, looking back, John, I think the biggest thing I wish, and someone, it's funny, right? Because someone probably did tell me. But when you're getting in the game, you see the glitz, or at least I did. I see the glitz and the quote unquote the glamour and the money and the shiny objects and all those things. But one of the things I wish I would have known and somebody would have given me a hint about is just how long it takes to be quote unquote wealthy. You've heard the story, right, about the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
To be great at something, it costs you 10,000 hours. And man, the hardest lesson that I learned was that I would assume, because here's what happens, right? When you're a visionary and you just see the prize, right? Like you know this about me now, right? Mm-hmm. Like next.
Yeah.
next. I want
that's easy.
That's easy. We can get that done today.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking for the prize. I'm always looking for what are we going to get accomplished? What's next? What's the next goal? Which is a great thing to be. But when I got in the gig, right, and I got in the game, it was, my first goal was $100,000, right? And 6 figures, and tells you how long ago that was. But then what I want now, or wish I would have had then, was I would have had my mindset on becoming wealthy. And somebody could have whispered to me, hey, Darren, it takes about 20 years. Because the 10,000 hours, no matter how hard you go, it's 10,000 hours hitting the same mark. Here's what I mean. It's not just 10,000 random hours.
Yeah.
Like Tiger Woods didn't do 10,000 random hours. Like he's actually working on hitting the ball on the club within a half-inch space. Mm-hmm. Well, you and I go out and bang golf balls, and we could spend 10,000 hours.
We just switch clubs.
Right, we've hit 45 clubs in 20 minutes, and our sweet spot is about a 4-foot spot on the club.
For me, if it hits a club face, that's a sweet spot.
Yeah, but Tiger is working on a half-inch, and the farther I got into the game, the more I realized, wealth is hitting the spot, right? It's hitting the spot.
Yeah.
So if you take me back 25 years and you hand me what I have today, I'm probably going to just tap out, right? I'm going to be like, that's enough. Mm-hmm. The wealth is built over the years. And what I didn't realize then that I realize now is how long it takes to build sustainable generational wealth. You may make $1 million in the first year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I did not, but you may do that. But that's not real wealth. Real wealth is gained with the assets that accumulate around you over the years. And I just didn't know how long it would take. And again, my goal wasn't even to build wealth. My goal was to make $100,000. I make 6 figures. I mean, we're rich. Like, we're banging at that time. So that's probably the biggest thing for me that I look back and go, man, I wish I would have known. I wish, I would to God, I would have understood the concept of what does this look like in 30 years? That would have been my biggest change. What does it look like 30 years from now? If I could tell anybody in the world, I don't care how old you are, from 20 to 120, be patient in this game.
Yeah.
Regardless of what kind of investor you are, whether you're a passive investor, aggressive investor, active investor, I don't care what kind of investor you are, be patient. And then, because patience sees things differently, John. It sees things differently, and therefore you act differently, right? So for us, there's some things that I've sold. There's some properties I've sold in my life that if I could go back and figure out a way to keep those, I probably should have. Mm-hmm. I was listening to Grant Cardone the other day, and I'm assuming everybody knows who Grant Cardone is. And he said, man, we keep everything. We buy apartment complexes and we just keep it. And then he said, I did sell, and he said, the ones that I've sold were duds, right? Like,
Yeah.
happy I sold that crap. It was in rat hole places. And he just didn't like it. But he said, I sold one that I wish I wouldn't have sold, right? Because here's the deal. Now, you got to catch this. The allure of that fast cash is very attractive, right? It's very attractive. We're doing deals right now where I'm looking at the cash and the collective of the long term. And if you're going to do $100 million deal, which we're working on right now, if you're going to do a $100 million transaction, you got to have some cash, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to lend you $100 million if you've got 50 grand in the bank. It ain't going to happen, Chief. Sorry.
Yeah.
You got to have experience and you got to have cash to hold it. You got to be able to cover it. So I have to sell some deals to get the long-term deal into play. I have to do this for that. But the thing that I've learned over my seasons is that it takes a long time to build real generational wealth. That was my biggest piece that I missed. How long it actually takes and how much learning it takes, dude. I mean, it's been a lot. There's a lot of mistakes under the bridge. You know, it's easy now, right? People look and go, because I can make you, if you do what I tell you to do, I can make you a millionaire in 24, 36 months now, right? It's simple, right?
Yeah.
Guy come to me with 50 grand or 100 grand. I go, okay, let's work this out. But I couldn't back then, 25 years ago, I couldn't do that, right? So the accumulation of knowledge and understanding over those years, man, it's a long time. It's a long time. So, with that being said, you want to be wealthy long term. The first big key, association. You've got to get with the right people. You've got to be around the right people. You've got to be around the people that think different than you, think higher than you think in different terms than you think, and you got to function at a different level. That's the fastest pace that I've learned, is just getting with those people that are farther than I am down the road. So if you want that and you want to, well, I don't have 25 years, I'm 70, I don't have 25 years. Well, get with the people, right? Get in our group somewhere, somehow. Get in where you fit in.
Part of Life Leaders.
Be a part of Life Leaders, so we can teach you what cost me 30 years, right? Don can teach you what cost him 25 years, right? Get in the group. Get in the association. Because things happen, John. Listen, man, it's just like today, right? We have this thing, and we need to talk about it later, but we have this thing happen today where it kind of felt like an all of a sudden deal. Somebody brings a deal into our office and goes, can you do this? Right? Well, yeah, I can do that. And what does that look like on the back? What's $1 million deal, right? $1 million. And they come and bring it to our table and go, well, I just want you to do it, right? I want you to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't just happen today. Like, that wasn't like this all of it. We didn't pray that in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it just shows up. It's as though it materializes out of nothing, but it really doesn't. No,
okay, so let's really talk. You and I are charismatic Pentecostal brethren, right? Brethren. We grew up in the charismatic movement.
You just pray that thing in the door.
Right. You prophesy, you pray, you say the right things, and it just comes in the door. Well, I've never seen anybody do that. It doesn't work. Even we'll name drop a little bit. Even the Kenneth Copelands of the world, right? He says, well, in the Jesse Duplantis, well, I did this and I believe it and I'm confessing it. Yeah, but you got 35 years in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't start out believing for that G5 jet. You started, I heard Mike Murdoch, who, if you're church folk, you know Mike Murdoch. Bro, he started out, he's telling his stories, believing for $100 bill. Like, I sowed, it's funny stories, right? Sows all this seed. So now, we hear on the news, John, this guy believing for a $40 million jet, Creflo Dollar, right? Well, that's good, but he's 40 years in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? He started believing for $100 bill and in a trailer and a car. Mike Murdoch tells his story about believing for furniture and trusting God and sowing seed for chairs and love seats.
And he's doing stuff behind the scenes. It's not just praying.
Come on, dude.
He's working everything that he's doing. 100 angles,
yeah. Right? So what most folks don't know, and you know, this is our stuff, so we can say what we want to say, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what most folks don't know is, you know, you see the stuff on the news and CNN throwing stones at Creflo Dollar because he said his jet was bad and he needed to buy a new jet and he was believing God for $40 million. I don't know what kind of jet it was. That's none of my business. I don't care. What you don't know is that dude is working like a scalded dog. Like, I remember one day I pulled up something, and it's been years back before YouTube was out, but it's been years ago. And this dude had a daily devotional that he did, right? 365 days of a daily devotional. And if you wanted to get into his daily devotional gig that he had, now you and I know how much back-end work that takes, right?
Oh, yeah.
How much studio work that takes. And not just the studio work, John. Let's go farther than that. How much study time it takes for him to even be able to get on.
Before you're ready for the camera?
Come on, Brandon. Hours and hours and hours. Like, this is a lifetime of work. But what was really cool is he had 700,000 people signed up for this. It was $3 a month. I don't know what it was. I mean, it was cheap, $2 a month. And you go, well, yeah, but 750,000 at $2 a month is $1.5 million. Well, yeah, but he's 40 years in this, right? And you want to hear his podcast, his daily devotion, because he studies what you aren't willing to study for 25, 35 years. And all that accumulates. And then CNN, all they do is say, well, this guy is in ministry. And he wants a $40 million jet. Well, he does. And maybe he shouldn't say that on TV. I don't know. That ain't my deal. But what I do know is that he's putting in work. What I do know is that Jesse Duplantis is putting in work, right? They've put in work to get to where they are. And that's the key. Like, we grew up in this charismatic movement where, you know, I don't know if they taught us that way, John, or we wanted to believe it that way.
We believed. We were stupid.
We wanted to believe that all you had to do was say something.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually taught it that way, but that's how we called it. So let's just let it be that, right? Don't throw stones at them teaching it that way, but let's let it be that. Like, all you got to do is say it.
We were looking for a shortcut.
Everybody is.
It was a lazy way
100%
to jump. And the thing that you're saying, the thing that you wish you had known from the beginning, it's the whole lesson that you've been talking about right now, is you can't do it.
No, man.
And so you can pray and confess and prophesy and all of those things.
And you
can
should
pray till you're blue in the face, but if you don't work to become the person that can do it, it's just not going to happen.
Well, here's the deal.
It wouldn't be good for you, actually.
100%. 100%. It's the lottery. That becomes a lottery, and God becomes the ultimate slot machine for you. And instead, God goes, no, I want you to pray and prophesy. Paul said, I pray more than you all put together, but I want you to do all that. But then you have to add value. So the only thing that's rewarded in the marketplace is value. That's it. Not prayer, not hikamoshai. We do all of that. Like, nobody's going to out-pray me. But I'm still putting in the work. And that's the thing. Like, you know, when you start out in any endeavor, man, right? I mean, you've got to know, if you're 6 years old and saying, I want to be on the PGA Tour, that's cool. You just got to outwork everybody else, man. If you want, like, the deal comes in my office today for one simple reason. I've been on this grind for decades.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say Tiger Woods or whatever. You have an affinity and an aptitude for this particular kind of thing.
Sure.
But it doesn't matter if you have talent. Tiger Woods has talent. He's super talented. He's on the course, adding to the talent, the swings, the reps, the time, you're talking about.
That's it.
So, I mean, you can try to work and do something you're not good at, and you're probably never going to be great. But even if you've got a natural talent for something and a gift, it's going to take 10,000 hours.
Well, the science of that, there was a study, I think it was Forbes that did it about the 10,000 hours. It's been years ago, right? A couple decades back where they did all this. And they were talking about the 10,000 hours. And so they went into a real in-depth study of the Warren Buffetts of the world, Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky's, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we don't really know if Michael Jordan had that kind of natural talent. We don't. I mean, how do you know?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do you know somebody has a natural, like, the only thing I'm really good at is numbers. And I've got it's just the only thing that I can actually say about me is that numbers are easy for me. That's the only thing I can say. Like, I don't have this natural talent to do land and real estate. I don't have that inside. I know numbers.
Yeah.
I'm good at numbers for whatever reason, right? But you don't have to be good at numbers to do the deal that we do. Mm-hmm. You ain't gotta be good at numbers. Who cares if that just like nobody cares that I can multiply in my head when you have an iPhone. Like who gives a flying horses behind? I got one right here. I'm probably faster than your little head knob. It's the reps. It's the repetitive. I'm gonna be there in the morning. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. That made me this, so that $1 million can walk into the building, right? So that and then last week I think it was, another multiplied $1 million deal came in the door and said, "Hey, by the way, we have these foreclosures. Do you want these too?" Yeah, sure, we'll buy those from you. Yep. Yeah. Just bring them on over here. We'll buy them, right? And they go, "Man, you're just lucky." Well, yeah, I'm lucky because I've outworked you. For 25 years, I've outworked you. And what you don't know is that I'm up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 every day of my life, and I'm being lucky, right?
Yeah.
And that was the missing piece in the beginning for me. I had faith. I had vision, although small, right? I had vision. Then I think the back hook on that, what I could say is it takes a long time to build generational wealth. On the back side of that, I didn't know that's what I wanted to build. Hindsight.
Yeah.
You look back, and we just had a guy that left us and exited and said he wanted to do his own thing. The question is, do you want to build a business? I don't know. Well, I didn't either, right? I look back, I didn't know I wanted to do this. I just want to make $100,000 and play golf.
Yeah.
I want to have a good life, right? I knew I want to have a good life. But in all actuality, man, looking back, John, that was the thing as well. I didn't know. So here's the thing I'm trying to get through is the process of growth. You don't know what's inside until you start training. You don't know how much weight you can lift until you start hitting the weights.
Yeah.
That was the piece. Like, so nobody told me, or if they did, I wasn't listening, how long it took to actually be wealthy and build it. Then on the back side, on the front side, now looking back, I'm looking back going, I didn't know I wanted to be this. I didn't even know I had this in me, because the reality is that everyone around me told me I couldn't do it. All my trusted relatives said, you don't have that piece.
You weren't from the affirmation generation.
No, man, no, not at all. Not
you had
at
reverse
all.
psychology being used on you.
Listen. My pops was strong like a bull, and he was like, when you fail and fall down on your face, you can come back over here and work in our deal again. So I didn't have any of that. And they all told me, man, all of my family told me to my face, you don't have that. You don't have that ability to lead people and to be a real leader, right? You're an ass, right? All of that stuff, man. You just don't have what it takes to lead. And so I didn't go in with that. I didn't step into the business arena thinking any of that stuff. Like, I'm gonna build this great business and I'm gonna yada yada. I'm gonna take over the world. I didn't know about Crest Fund 25 years ago, right? Nobody told me about this name or and I didn't have any of that stuff, John. So that's the biggest piece that I would go back and go, man, it takes a long time to build real wealth, real generational wealth. I didn't say get rich. You can make a few $1 million quick, and I know guys that have made it fast. But to build real generational wealth takes the the evolution of a person, first off. And that was the big piece for me, is that I evolved into something that I probably knew deep inside that I was, but I didn't know I was. And then to build what I have now, and to be in a place where somebody walks in with $1 million deal and say, hey, Darren, I want you to do this. Can y'all do this for me? Oh, yeah, we can do that for you. That would be my big one. That would be my big one. That would be my big one. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining us on this Life Leaders conversation we're having. I want you to click the link that's right below, and you can join up and be a member of Life Leaders. You get all access to conversations just like this one, but more than that, our master classes, all of the training that we have to help you be your highest and best. If you're not a member of Life Leaders, you need to become one today. And you also get VIP access to everything that we're doing with Crest Fund, every deal that comes down, you're first to know, and all of those things. We're looking to help people be their highest and best. We're using all the tools in our arsenal to do that. So you need to be part of our Crest Fund family and our Life Leaders family. So sign up today, and we'll see you next time on Life Leaders.